Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So hopefully in my previous video and in this video the audio is a lot better as I am holding the mic a lot closer to me. As mentioned in previous videos also, if you would like to see the full video or the real-time video of these process videos, you can check out the link below the video where I will have a link to the extras page for my content on my website that will give you kind of like the behind the scenes of any projects that I'm working on, any blog posts, any links to any of the full videos of me working on this stuff. You can find that down below. All right, so now we're going to go on to the topic of this video, which it's pretty much talking about mastering your preferred medium. And I might title this, if I remember, just title it "Ooh Shiny" in the title for this subject. And the reason is because I think as artists, we get caught up, especially if you're someone who is viewing a lot of art content on YouTube and even on other social media platforms. We can get into this cycle or get caught up in the needing to buy the newest and shiniest thing. And for possibly a few different reasons. One could be you just want to test out that particular product or particular medium, which is completely fine. Another one might be because you see your favorite artist using it, and because they're using it, you want to see if it's something you might genuinely enjoy. And then there's also, I think, like one of the major things, one of the bigger things is that we might think that this new thing will skyrocket our art to where we want it to be, because we might see a particular artist creating amazing work with that medium. An example would be I prefer to work traditionally, and more specifically, I prefer to work with graphite, with pencils. And I have seen people create amazing art with watercolor, with gouache, with acrylic painting, oil painting, alcohol markers, etc., right? And now I do paint. I paint in acrylics. I've never really been interested in oils, so I've never attempted to paint in oils because I know that the like blending and stuff like that is like one of the things that oil is great for. But I also prefer acrylics because I don't have the patience to sit and wait for weeks or months for a layer to dry enough for me to paint over. I don't have the patience for it. I barely have the patience to have my acrylic layers dry on certain stuff. So that's just me when it comes to painting. But I do have other materials. Like I have acrylic gouache, I have watercolor. I do have a few alcohol markers, but I don't use those necessarily for full finish illustrations. I kind of use those to kind of play around with like tones and stuff within my sketchbook, or playing around with my sketchbook. But I want to talk about quote unquote mastering your preferred medium. If you I'm gonna base this on what I like, right? I genuinely love graphite. I love drawing in graphite, and I have seen amazing work created in graphite. I've also seen amazing work created in watercolor and pen and whatever medium you can possibly think of, right? And I have gone out and explored different mediums. Like, I genuinely do like messing with acrylic wash. I've not perfected it or haven't even really come close to it. I still think I'm in the baby stages of learning acrylic wash, because I just haven't spent enough time with it. But the time that I have spent with it, I do enjoy it. But it is not my preferred medium. And even though I do want to improve with acrylic wash, my preferred medium is graphite. And I love graphite. And I think it's because I love black and white images and in grayscale images. I love I don't want to say the texture, but I just love the amount of stuff that you can create with just a simple tool like a pencil. And I've always been drawn to more black and white images. If there were comics that I genuinely enjoyed that were in black and white, I would probably take the black and white over a colored comic of the same, if it was the same thing, right? And I don't know what that is. That's just my preference. Even though I do love certain images that are in color, but I prefer black and white, or I prefer images that have more muted colors. So, I guess the best way I can describe it is more earthy tones, more of those earthy tones, like the dark reds or the muted reds, the muted greens, stuff like that, muted blues. It's just, I don't know why, it's just a preference, right? But I think for a while I did get caught up in, my art has to look a certain way, or I have to try certain mediums, or I need to get certain mediums because that's going to be the thing that helps me get my art to where I want it to. And honestly, that's not it. And I've mentioned this in another video, and it wasn't specifically dealing with the art material, specifically just dealing with improvement, but it's mileage. It's spending the hours upon hours upon hours working with that medium that you want to, I'll say master, but you want to become proficient in, and just spending the time that you need to actually get better with it. And just like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it, hopefully. And you'll learn how you work in that medium, and the best ways for you to work in that medium, right? You'll come up with your own techniques or your own ways of doing things that might not work for somebody else, but it works for you because of how you create your art, right? The process of how you create your art. Some people, they might have a similar process, but it might be different in certain steps. And if you are trying to, I'll say, for example, if you're trying to do tutorials, right, on how to use, I'll say, acrylic painting, right? And the tutorials that you're watching, they're helping you, but they're not really getting you to where you want to get to. Sometimes it might just take you really doing, tons of paintings, even if they're small paintings, right? Doing small paintings and gearing those paintings to the techniques or the outcome that you're trying to achieve and working out ways on how you can try to achieve that until you find something that works, and then practicing replicating that process over and over and over again. I'll give you an example of me currently. Right now, I am currently working on how to improve my rendering, how to improve how, I shade and render images, and specifically, of course, in graphite. But not only am I having to, one, learn the foundation of rendering, I am practicing and experimenting with what works best for me. How can I achieve the outcome I am looking to achieve? And then practicing replicating that same effect over and over and over again, to where I really don't even have to think about it. And also maybe experimenting with techniques that I'm, kind of think of at the whim, and seeing if that works. And if it doesn't, okay, cool, that's fine. On the next image, I know not to do that thing because it's not going to get me the results I want. So all this to say, if there is a preferred medium that you genuinely enjoy, or even if there's, say, you have a medium that you want to become more proficient in, spend the necessary time to really get better with that medium. Maybe for the next, 3 months or more, or even, if you want to shorten it, maybe, a month, 30 days, whatever. Take the time to try to create as many pieces of art using that medium, and even going outside of your comfort zone as far as subject matters, to really experiment and push yourself and see how much you can improve. And like I said, I guess one of the best ways I can say, if you want to do something like that, don't do huge illustrations. Keep it small, maybe do a few small illustrations in your sketchbook, or a few illustrations on, whatever type of paper or material that you would need to use that particular medium. I think I mentioned in a previous video, I'm working on drawing 50 small illustrations centered around horror/Halloween themed, because that's something I genuinely like. But also, I get to experiment. I get to play around with how I can work with a pencil or work with other mediums, and do maybe certain images that are what do they call it? Multimedia or whatever. I forgot the actual name of it, but I'm playing with different mediums on a particular image, and I can experiment and play and see what works for me, what didn't work for me, what type of shading techniques worked for me, which ones didn't, which ones I prefer the look of, and take that information and bring it to my next illustration, until I can get to where I want to get to, right? And so that's how I kind of just want to wrap it up and just say, like, if you're looking to learn a new medium, or if you want to perfect the medium that you're currently working in, it's really just going to be about mileage and taking the necessary time that you need to take to work in that medium to perfect it. And I guess another thing to add on this, and the last thing that I have to say is, first of all, don't judge yourself off the rip, right? Because especially if you're trying a new medium, or if you're trying to perfect the medium that you're working in, and you're not happy, your drawings and your images, they're going to be bad at first, right? But you will get better over time. So don't judge yourself at the starting line, right? If you're just starting out, give yourself time. Like if you're doing like a 30-day challenge, do 30 images a day, or not 30 images a day, but do 30 images in a month, you know, an image a day, or do 2, or whatever the case may be. And then once you've completed that challenge, then compare your last drawing to your first drawing to see how much you've improved. And if you've made progress, you know, awesome. Hopefully you have made progress, right? If you're practicing. And then do it all over again, you know, do another 30, 60 days, whatever, and then judge your 60-day drawing to your 30-day drawing and see how much you've improved there. Or even judge your 36 drawing from your first day drawing and see how much you've skyrocketed. Never judge yourself based on your first works, because you're always going to get better. You're always going to improve. You're always going to pick up tips and tricks here and there. Don't be too hard on yourself is pretty much the gist of that. And don't feel like you have to post it on social media. And I think that's another thing that'll probably help, you know, with the idea that it has to be perfect or it has to look amazing the first go around. If you're working with a new medium, if you're looking to perfect the medium that you're doing and you're practicing works, keep it to yourself. If you want to, after you've, you know, gotten better and you want to share some of your old stuff or your current stuff, then go ahead and do that. But until then, keep everything locked away in your sketchbook and don't show anybody. And, you know, just keep it to yourself and until, you know, you feel comfortable enough to share it. And I think that'll help as well. Not feeling like you have this pressure of it has to be perfect because you're about to put it on social media for possibly tons of people that you do not know to see it and critique it. And I think that also that'll affect how you try to proceed with mastering that particular medium. So that's all I have to say. I know this has gone on a lot longer than any of my other videos. I do hope you guys found this useful. I hope you guys are enjoying the new format with these videos. And like I said, if you would like to see the full length video, you can click on the link below to my Hidden's Extra page, and you can go ahead and view my stuff there. So thank you guys again. Hope you guys have a good one and take care. Peace out.